going on, everybody? It's your boy Motorman Dan, and today we're going to talk about the Auto Ballista. It's a long-range trap that triggers and fires at enemies dealing physical damage, or arcane. You have level upgrades, which is reduce cooldown. You have the unique upgrades, deals arcane damage or increase targeting range. You have the 5,000 damage, deal 5,000 damage to unlock the unique upgrades. As far as unique upgrades are concerned, I run either of those. It kind of depends on the map. Like if you're on a map with tall ceilings, like split stairs, or if you're on Coliseum and you want to use it to fire into like the middle of Coliseum from the outside, usually increased targeting range will do that for you. They're pretty good against flyers as well, although not like the greatest thing against flyers, because they only hit one thing. They don't pierce or anything like that. Yeah, I mean they're okay. As far as the trap is concerned, you know, I wouldn't normally bring them a ton. You know, they can do damage. They can do some pretty solid damage from outside of the kill box to the inside of the kill box. Also, they're a targeting trap, and as targeting goes on endless, it kind of falls. It struggles. Targeting struggles when you have too many things targeting at once. On regular maps, or if you're like late game endless, targeting suffers as well. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the game files. So the first thing we have is the Ballista game files. There's really not a lot to it because it's all the rest of it's in the trap protos. We have the base speed of 10,000, which is a lot. It's per second, so divided by 150, and that's how many grid squares per second. And then primary damage is 75 per hit, and the base lifetime is 10. Again, that really doesn't matter too much. The base speed for it is slow enough to not hit like enemies running perpendicular to the angle of firing. So they can miss. It's pretty annoying when they do because they only have one shot every, like, you know, X amount of seconds. Okay, trap protos. Let's go into that. So the first thing to know is it's a sensing. So that means that it is has to target, has to sense the enemy and target them. Which, like I said, has a hard time sometimes. Trigger delay is 0.5 seconds. It doesn't really matter because it fires when it fires. You have the cooldown is 9 seconds. The coin value is 750, which is on the average side of trap costs, I guess. Sight radius is 2,400. 2,400 is going to be 16 grid squares. And a grid square, as I will say every video, just in case this is the only video you're watching, the grid square is the size of an archer footprint. So if you imagine 16 archers in a row, and you put it on the one side of it, it can hit the archer on the very end. Then the other one of the upgrades increases it to go up to 22.6, so 23. We've found that rounding happens usually upwards in the game whenever there's a decimal in place. So that's yeah, that's that. You get it unlocked. I don't remember when. I think it's for the basement, like the map for the basement, which would be Dragon Boneyard, I believe. You think it's right. You unlock the Auto Ballista for that once you beat Dragon Boneyard. Okay, and I think that's really everything to know about the Auto Ballista as far as that's going to the upgrades. So for the upgrades, we have. Okay, here we go. So we have that's the unique upgrade. Here it is. Okay, we have reduced cooldown, cost 4 skulls, reduces it by 1, reduced cooldown, 8 skulls, 1, reduce cooldown even more, 10 skulls, and 1. So that takes it from 9 seconds down to 6 seconds, which is pretty quick. 6 seconds pretty quick. You can keep enemies in a location pretty easily there. So, you know, good for the big guys in the back. If you put it there to kind of clean up the big guys, if you're focused on killing the small guys. There's a lot more in the game right now to take care of the small guys compared to taking care of the big guys. I mean, you've got Spike Wall, you've got Wall Charger, and you've got Ballista, and that's really the main, and maybe Flip Trap. That's really the main stuff, and this has such a low cooldown that it could easily be used in the back to clean up the big guys. The unique upgrades is going to be that it deals arcane damage, so they become affected by magic. And they increase the targeting range, and that is by 1,000, which is where we found that other number. The 3,400, so 2,400 takes it up to about 23 grid squares whenever it attacks. And then there was a unique 3. I don't know exactly what this is. I don't remember if. Yeah, I think this was another one of those things where it was going to be used for the special upgrade, but they ended up not putting special upgrades in. I believe is what this was for. Stuns enemies hit. It would have cost 7 skulls, and it would have had the crossbow stun, which is a 3 second stun as well, but it doesn't stun, so that's no longer in the thing. That'd been kind of cool if it stunned as well. 3 seconds. I mean, you'd have to increase the cooldown probably if you're going to stun for 3 seconds, but yeah, so that was going to be a thing. All right. And lastly, the status effect, as I said, they do get magicked. Here it is. They do get affected by magic for arcane. So let's go into that real quick. Magicked. All right. So here's the affected by magic debuff. 5 seconds. And they take 1.15 times damage or 15% bonus damage from acid, arcane, fire, ice, and lightning. To include other ballista shots. Now, I will say that if you have 2 ballista shots firing at the same time or really, really close, it doesn't have enough tick time, which is like the in-game clock. It doesn't have enough time for the debuff to apply after the first shot for the second shot to do the bonus damage. So if you have 2 of them, you want to spread them out a little bit so that way when the first shot lands, then the second shot lands and does the additional damage. So just be mindful of that you're kind of spreading them out a little bit. If you want to do the extra damage. If not, you just want to pummel all the damage into one location, great. But typically you want to spread them out a little bit. So that way they target different units and they don't all waste their shot and their cooldown on one unit and do overkill and stuff like that. Let's jump into the weekly challenge that utilizes a lot of ballista. All right, guys, welcome back, and we are on wave 4 of the weekly challenge, and the weekly challenge is called Color of Money. And with this, you don't start with any money necessarily, but you do get money from killing the big guys. You get 100 coin, which is what money bags gives you. We're basically just having auto ballistas or ceiling ballistas, auto ballistas, yeah, everywhere. You can see how spread out they are, and this is to help enemies, kind of die individually. So we're not wasting our cooldowns. So here's kind of what the ceiling looks like on this. The mountain trolls are going to be taken out pretty easily if he's the first one in, and then everybody else kind of follows after that. So we don't, after wave 2, for wave 3, we don't actually have to do any damage. Absolutely none, because the ballistas will take care of everything. Put another ballista there. Put another ballista back here somewhere. Yeah, back here is probably okay. And they just have such good coverage, especially on this map, because the lanes kind of go into each other here, and it's really quite good. A little bit of target goes a long way, of course. It helps the auto ballista be able to hit their target, which is what we want. Otherwise, they could miss kobolds, and kobolds are probably the one thing that they're worst against most. Anyway, the biggest weakness is probably kobold runners. So. We just have to kind of watch out for them. But with enough tar, it should be fine. And so you can see we're literally not doing any damage at all. We're just letting the ballistas do all the damage, do all the work. So if you're interested as to how good they are, just play this one. And wave 3 and 4, you shouldn't have to auto attack a single thing. Maybe for part-time, but not for actually winning. There you go. All right, cool. Guys, as always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, and I will see you on the flip side. Deuces.